Have you ever asked someone a question and the answer sounded pretty convincing? Everything seemed to make sense, the story flowed, the details sounded reasonable, and then you asked a follow-up question. Suddenly, everything changed. The confidence disappeared, the details became vague, and the story started shifting. Why? Because follow-up questions can be incredibly revealing. Hi, I'm Steve Van Apperen, and today we're looking at why follow-up questions are one of the most powerful tools in communication, interviewing, and detecting deception. But before we start, once again, no single behaviour on its own proves deception. We always look for patterns across multiple behaviours and the surrounding context. Okay, let's get into it. Most people prepare for the first question. Very few prepare for the second, or the third, or the fourth, and that's where things become interesting. Imagine I ask, where were you on Friday night? And somebody says, I went to dinner with a friend. Simple, reasonable, nothing unusual. But now I ask, what restaurant did you go to? Then, how did you get there? Then, what did you order? Or what did your friend order? Then, what did you talk about? Now, suddenly, the story has to expand. And expansion creates pressure. Researchers such as Albert Fridge have written extensively about cognitive load, which I've talked about on several of the other previous videos I've put up. The mental effort required to maintain a fabricated story is what we call cognitive load, because if someone is being deceptive, they're often doing several things at once, remembering what they've already said, avoiding contradictions, maintaining credibility, and thinking ahead. Now that's hard work. Now compare that to a truthful person. Truthful person is usually retrieving information, not managing a story. So follow-up questions often help them remember more, not less. Let me show you. Imagine two people tell you they attended a conference. The first person says it was good. The second person says it was good. Actually, there's one speaker who completely lost the audience halfway through. Interesting. Now you ask a follow-up question, what happened? The second person immediately has somewhere to go because they're retrieving memory. The first person may struggle because the original answer was all they had. Again, this doesn't mean difficulty equals deception. Some people have poor memory. Some people become nervous. Some people hate being questioned. I saw that a lot when I was in the police force. That's why context matters. But follow-up questions do something very important. They move people away from rehearsed answers and closer to genuine recall. Let's look at another example. Imagine somebody says, I met him briefly. Okay, follow-up question. What did you talk about? Now another. Where were you standing? Then another. Who ended the conversation? Notice what happens. The story either grows naturally or organically, or it starts to collapse. And that's why experienced investigators rarely stop at the first answer, because the first answer is often the prepared answer if somebody's lying. The follow-up answer is where things become interesting. Let's look at one more final example. Let's say the question is, did you see John that day? And the answer is yes. Follow-up, what was he wearing? Follow-up, how did he seem? Follow-up, what happened next? Each question creates another opportunity for memory or another opportunity for inconsistency. That's why follow-up questions are so powerful. They're not designed to trap people, they're designed to explore information. And sometimes the deeper you go, the more the truth reveals itself. So let's recap. Watch for stories that become weaker under follow-up questions, increasing vagueness, new contradictions, and missing detail. And also the difficulty they have in expanding on simple claims. Because the first answer may tell you what somebody prepared, but the follow-up questions often tell you what they remember. Just a couple of references. Albert Fridge, Detecting Lies and Deceit, Cognitive Load Theory, Investigative Interviewing Research, and Albert Fridge, as I previously mentioned. If you found this useful, comment below and subscribe to the channel and share this video with someone who you think may need to see it. Because once you understand human behavior, you start hearing the truth very differently.